CNN had a big segment on an app you can get that informs people about how to circumvent law enforcement at the federal level. The problem is that's against the law. And just moments ago, Kristi Noem announced that they're investigating CNN for possible criminal behavior. Wow. We're going to show you all those details in a sec. But first, here's what CNN did. John Berman. It's this rosy little sort of, public interest segment they did on an app called ICEBlock.
Trump administration steps up ICE raids and mass deportations. One tech developer is pushing back with an app designed to track ICE activity in real time. It's called ICEBlock, and it's controversial to say the least. CNN's Claire Duffy is with us now. How does this work, Claire, and what are the legal implications?
Yeah, John, I talked with Joshua Aaron, who is the longtime tech worker who developed this platform, and he said he really wants it to be an early warning system for people about the location of Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers. So he says he does not want people interfering with those officers' activity, but he does want people to be able to avoid them altogether if they want. So you open the app, it looks like a map, and users can tap the map to report an ICE sighting in their area, and then everybody who uses the platform within 5 miles of that sighting will get a push alert. This is a free iPhone app. It is anonymous. Aaron says he doesn't collect any user data. And what I think is really interesting about this in this moment is we've seen so many of the biggest leaders in tech supporting President Trump. But Aaron is sort of an example of the fact that there are people within the tech industry who are really resistant to Trump's policies. I asked him what he would say to those tech leaders who, for example, were at the inauguration. Here's what he told me. Take a listen.
I understand that you have shareholders to report to. I understand that you have employees that need their paychecks. But at what point do you say enough is enough?
And John, I should say that ICE did not respond when I asked them about this platform and about Aaron's opposition to their activity.
Oh, don't worry. ICE has responded. You'll get the ICE response coming up in a sec. It might be in the form of a criminal subpoena. But just a second here on that really fascinating, in-depth reporting that you just witnessed from CNN about this app where they glorify and celebrate this developer because he's righteous and represents the resistance in Silicon Valley against Trump. Did you notice something about him here? This is him. You can tell he's got the ponytail thing going on, dressed in black. He's Joshua Aaron is his name. I'm no CNN journalist, but I can do just a tiny little insy bitsy little bit of investigation on someone like this. I mean, you're the reporter, you're the journalist, you're the producer, you're an executive, let's say, at CNN. You're doing a feature on an app that you are admitting on the air is controversial, to say the least, considering what it does. And you don't do just a little bit of a search on who this guy is. I did. You could too. There he is on X. Of course, he's on Blue Sky too. Stealing Heather is his name. And he's proud Antifa, it says. The very first identifying characteristic in his bio, other than his Blue Sky screen name, is proud Antifa. And CNN didn't see that. CNN didn't include that in their report. Look at this guy. He's designing a really cool app. He also plays Minecraft in his spare time. He likes long walks on the beach, and he's looking for Mrs. Right. Oh, and he's proud Antifa. Okay, back to you in the studio, John. Bill Malugin at Fox News did a little bit of investigation of his own, not on this guy, not on the app, but about the violence and the threats and the intimidation the federal law enforcement agents that work for ICE are enduring right now. According to DHS, the assaults against ICE federal agents conducting immigration enforcement are up 700% over the same time last year. Last year, 10 assaults between January 21st and June 30th. This year, since Trump took over, 79 assaults. That's a 690% increase. And CNN is cheering it on, giving people tools. Understand, this whole idea of ICEBlock is theoretically so that everyone can report where they saw ICE agents so everyone can avoid it. But if you're a maniac, if you're Antifa, if you believe the rhetoric from Democrat lawmakers like Hakeem Jeffries right now that are comparing federal ICE agents to Hitler's Gestapo squad, then maybe you'll actually take that information and go ambush some of these cops. Obviously, that's why it was designed by Mr. Antifa. Well, earlier today, while touring the alligator Alcatraz down in Florida, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was specifically asked about CNN reporting on this app by our buddy and colleague Benny Johnson. Look at her answer.
And Madam Secretary, CNN yesterday pushed an app that lets you track where ICE agents are. Tom Homan was saying that perhaps CNN should be prosecuted for that. That's obstruction of law enforcement. Your response?
Yeah, we're working with the Department of Justice to see if we can prosecute them for that, because what they're doing is actively encouraging people to avoid law enforcement activities, operations, and we're going to actually go after them and prosecute them with the partnership of PAM if we can, because what they're doing, we believe, is illegal.
And they may be prosecuted also for having given false reports on the attack in Iran.
Yes.
They were given totally false reports. It was totally obliterated, and our people have to be celebrated, not come home and say, what do you mean we didn't hit the target? We hit the target prison. You know, the pilots came home and they said, we hit the target prison. So they may be very well prosecuted for that. What they did there, we think, is totally illegal. Okay, let's go. Follow us.
I think what President Trump means there is that dabbling in the top secret intelligence report and broadcasting it could potentially be illegal. There are ramifications when you broadcast a top secret intelligence report like that. But you heard Kristi Noem specifically with regard to the ICEBlock app that they're looking into prosecuting CNN for this behavior and encouraging this lawless behavior, giving people the tools how to encourage this lawless behavior. Attorney General Pam Bondi last night on the same topic. She's the one who would lead that investigation.
You know, we've had Tom Homan on many times on the program, and he's talked about a dramatic increase in violence against ICE agents, over 450%. I mean, really scary numbers. If you have or put out an application or a warning system that ICE agents are in the area, are you guilty of obstruction? Are you guilty of aiding and abetting in that case? And by the way, if you're a sanctuary state, does that status aid and abet just the very status of it?
Yeah, and that's what he's doing. And people obviously are ICE agents, all of our federal agents who are working hand in hand on these task forces, our federal agents from the Justice Department could be injured. He's giving a message to criminals where our federal officers are, and he cannot do that. And we are looking at it. We are looking at him, and he better watch out, because that's not a protected speech. That is threatening the lives of our law enforcement officers throughout this country. And shame on CNN. I just saw that for the first time when you showed it, that they're promoting that app. That's shame on them for doing that. That could hurt our law enforcement officers who are out there protecting them, protecting all of us every single day.
All right. So now you've got the Attorney General who says it is being investigated, and also shame on them. How about, arrest them? Tricia McLaughlin, spokesperson for DHS, also chimed in.
There's a new app that someone has come up with to spot ICE, basically giving people an alert that ICE is coming. I don't know exactly how the app works, but I know that the Department of Homeland Security and the ICE director, Tim Lyons, is worried about this, concerned. And can you tell us your thoughts about this? Do you think that it is meant to at least give people a heads up so that they can get away from ICE, but also concern for the ICE men and women in uniform in addition to that?
Dana, absolutely. Our ICE enforcement officers are seeing a 500% increase in assaults against them. And a lot of this is because politicians like AOC, like Governor Tim Walz, like Gavin Newsom, demonize our ICE enforcement officers and give them free passes. And examples like these apps are absolutely obstructing justice. What our ICE enforcement officers are doing is enforcing the rule of law. If these rioters, these activists, and these politicians don't like the law, they should change it. Don't go after our ICE law enforcement. It's disgusting, it's wrong, and it's un-American.
Yeah, she's not wrong. And Tom Homan, the Borders are also chimed in on this at the same time. They're all pretty upset about it, as well they should be. And that's why CNN's in the crosshairs for promoting it and celebrating it. Are there any grown-ups over at CNN left to actually make some editorial judgments? I don't think so. Here's Homan.
White House is calling out CNN and that ICE spotting app that shows agents' locations on a map. Watch this, please.
There's been a 500% increase in violence against ICE agents, law enforcement officers across the country who are just simply trying to do their jobs and remove public safety threats from our communities. And that's something we as Americans, including journalists at CNN who live in many of these cities where illegal aliens are hiding, certainly it's unacceptable that a major network would promote such an app that is encouraging violence against law enforcement officers who are trying to keep our country safe.
But Tom Homan, the question is, does that app interfere with deportations? And if so, what do you do about it?
Absolutely it does. And it angers me. Look, I've been doing this since 1984, Stuart. I've been doing this longer than anybody around here. And I just can't believe we're in a place where, you know, a TV network like CNN is talking about this app and educating people on the existence of this app. ICE law enforcement officers, like I said earlier, they're concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. This is a dangerous job. And this app is going to give the bad guy heads up that we're coming, which means more bad guys are going to escape arrest, which makes this country less safe, which is a public safety issue. And on top of that, it's only a matter of time for a bad guy, which is like someone who threw a Molotov cocktail at officers in L.A., who the assault against ICE officers up over 500%. It's a matter of time, but someone uses that and ambushes ICE officers. This is something we cannot tolerate, we can't stand for, so we're calling them out. And I'm begging the Department of Justice look into this and hold people accountable. This puts ICE officers at great risk. We're at a place in time where the Democrats are vilifying ICE as racist and Nazis. And on top of this app, I'm scared to death for the ICE officers who go out there every day, put their lives on the line. Something needs to be done. I'm begging DOJ to look in this, take some action.
Tom Homan, thank you very much for being on the show today. Hope we can come back again soon.
All right, so I've got an idea here. While the Justice Department and while the DHS and while other law enforcement entities at the federal level investigate this app and specifically investigate CNN for broadcasting the existence of the app, we need to protect our ICE agents. We need to be able to make sure that this app can't be used to go after cops who are just doing their jobs and finding, you know, pedophiles and kidnappers and human traffickers and drug dealers and arsonists and murderers, right? They're going after the bad guys. And Mr. Antifa app developer is trying to put their lives in danger for doing their job. So there's a way to fix this. There's a way to get in front of this and protect our cops. Hear me out. This app acts like a crowdsourcing thing, right? It's almost like Waze when you're driving and you say, oh, there's a cop sitting there with a radar, right? And you click on a button so that other people know, hey, don't speed here because you might get caught speeding. It's similar to that. What if we all downloaded this app today? And what if we all went to cities like Los Angeles and New York and Chicago and San Francisco and what have you? Not actually physically go there. You just pull it up on the app and just start reporting ICE activity on every single corner of every single city block in every major city in America. What if we effed around with this app, downloaded it, and started reporting ICE activity everywhere? It'll solve a couple of different challenges here with this thing. First of all, it would completely screw with them and their servers and hopefully sort of, you know, lock up the entire app and make it dysfunctional, number one. If it doesn't do that, it will render every actual report of ICE activity meaningless, because anyone who pulls up the app won't know which one is legit and which one is you or me just saying that ICE happens to be there. And number three, if you're in the country illegally and you're a criminal and you're afraid that you're going to get apprehended and deported, and you pull up the app and see that ICE is on every block, maybe you'll stay home, or maybe you'll actually go home. And finally, it would be fun to mess with them. So just a thought. I'm just thinking, one way to mitigate the danger here to our federal ICE agents is to sort of give them a bunch of false positives and make the entire world think that ICE is on every corner, because, well, they are, if you think about it. If you're a criminal and you want to go continue your criminal activity, you should have that thought in the back of your head at all times. ICE is around every corner. So maybe, just maybe, you should get the hell out.